Right, he's back. James B in the house. We've done the introductions. Go straight in, James. What's your thoughts?
Sorry about that, everyone. So I mean, I was saying that you can get involved in a competitive back and forth affair with Brighton. Maybe that they nick a goal. Maybe they just something goes their way. You lose the game. That can happen. Brighton are a very, very good team. And I think for a lot of the first half, I mean, I was listening to the commentary, obviously, because I wasn't there. I was watching it with my family, and they were saying how brilliant Brighton were. I actually thought Arsenal edged the first half just in terms of the chances.
Yeah, I thought that.
But within edging it in terms of creating chances, you've also got to show some quality when those chances come. And I felt that quality really lacked up, actually. And I don't really think I could sort of question the commitment or the urgency too much in the first half. I thought we looked a bit messy. I thought Brighton did quite well. But the second half was really, really disheartening. I think the reason being is we've seen this team 3-1 down at home to, albeit Southampton, who have now been relegated. But even when that was a must-win and we thought, what's even the point fighting back here? They fought back for something. And generally, they've shown fight all season. I know you could say Brighton were too good for us, and maybe in some ways that's true. But I think a lot of that second half, the frustration on why maybe so many fans left, and I'm not necessarily condoning that's the right thing to do. I'm not going to say what each individual fan should and shouldn't do. Everyone's got their own lives and their own situations or whatever. But I think there was a real frustration of that performance, not just because Brighton were very good and we were struggling to handle it, but because there was a relaxed nature to that performance. I didn't feel the players were playing like they knew they had to win it. I didn't feel like the intensity was there. When we went a goal down.
We said that.
Yeah, when we went a goal down, they seemed to just almost like panic. You know what? They were playing like the title was done. And the reality is it probably is. Maybe they thought City would get something at Everton, and actually City winning the way they did just knocked them a bit. I don't know. I don't want to make...
You know what, James, right? It's so interesting that you should have that assessment, because that's exactly what we were saying at the watch along, and myself and Nick. So I honestly think that subconsciously today, when they've seen Man City not just beat Everton, but roll over them like that fairly comfortably, it could be that in their minds, they'll never admit it publicly, but subconsciously they're kind of not so much giving up, but accepting their fate as runners-up rather than champions. So therefore, that level of intensity that they would have needed, that they showed last week, because this is what I couldn't understand. I'm like, how can we go to Newcastle, right, and show that almost dogs of war type attitude last week, and then you get to this week in front of your own fans, you're still in it technically, and just be so flat, especially in the second half? So
well, I think the key thing is that bit there, especially in the second half. The first half, I know I've touched on it already, but we did win the ball back high quite a few times. We did, have a few turnovers, get a few shots at goal. I think if Odegaard's decision making is a bit better, we probably have a few better chances. I think Trossard should score. So actually, there's a world in which Arsenal come out that first half performance a goal up.
Yeah, I thought we slightly... I mean, Nick disagreed with me, but I agree with you. I thought we slightly... It wasn't like, amazing, but I think we slightly edged it. But I think for me, James, the turning point, and I say this a lot, goals change games.
Yeah.
Brighton scored in the 51st minute, which is 6 minutes after the second half started. And I think once that goal went in, I think you could see the confidence evaporate from the team.
And we'd had a decent spell in that 5 minutes, starting the second half. Then they score, and then quite frankly, we were ghosts out there. We couldn't get anywhere near them, and that's when I thought Brighton were at their most impressive. The way they could have just sat into a shell and tried to stop us playing, but they didn't. They just played their way through in 3-0.
What did you think of Caicedo today?
Yeah, brilliant. And again, how many times was he? Yes, he was a right back, but how many times was he drifting into midfield to get the ball?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because everyone wants to tell me how terrible Zinchenko is defensively, which I think is slightly overblown anyway. But you saw what we lacked in him, not coming into midfield, not being able to dominate. Tierney was very much asked not to do that role. And so we looked like we were missing something. Just a few other things, guys, just sort of particular points I want to touch on.
Sure.
The first goal where Kivior goes down holding his ankle. By the way, I thought, it's hard to say he had a really good game after that. I thought for most of the game he was pretty good, actually. But you do want
See, I've got an observation on that.
Oh, go on.
And this is something that I said at the watch along, so I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. Right, for me, Kiwior gets his ankle trodden on, okay? Now, listen, I know everyone's threshold of pain is different, right? But what I'm saying, you expect your centre-halves to be grizzled and tough and, you know what I mean, not show out too much. To me, I'm just going to keep it real. I was a little bit disappointed that he went to ground so quick, because by doing so, he allowed Enciso just a free header, and he took it. For me, you stay on your feet. When the ball is cleared, that's when you get. When the ball is cleared, or when the attack, you know what I mean, you got the ball in possession and whatever, you could stay down for 10, 15 minutes. I don't care. But to me, you don't go down like that. You don't take a knee like that, bro. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you do one of two things. Firstly, I'd like you to do everything you can to stay on your feet and just, you know, put your body in the way of whatever comes through. But like you said, everyone's pain threshold's different. He was caught, in fairness, so, you know, sometimes those little small ones that don't look like a big deal can actually be really painful. But you do one of two things. A, the first thing I'd like you to do, just stand up to it and see it out till the ball's out of play. Or if you're going to go down absolutely screaming and wailing and arms in the air and everything. Don't just sort of slowly go down to your ankle and give it a little rub and sort of, you know, head down. Oh, that's a bit painful, because no one cares. You know, you got to do one or the other, and he did neither. And yeah, just a bad moment for him. The other thing I thought was really disappointing, besides the fact that there were just disaster classes across the pitch. I mean, everyone poor in possession, sloppy passes, a lack of intensity. I thought Arteta's subs were really, really appalling today, actually. He brought Xhaka and Jorginho off. I'm not sure Xhaka deserved to come off.
He did look a bit pissed when he was taken off, I must admit.
That was a bit too quick for me. Then he decided, because I think you take Xhaka off once you've got control of the game, once you're camped in their third, and you go, okay, we need Trossard's inventiveness. But we haven't got to that stage yet. We need to get on the ball again. And we need to show a little bit of resilience and character. And Xhaka this season has epitomised that. That was weird. I understood him bringing Partey on for Jorginho, because it was quite transitional, the game, but Partey had a shocker. And to be fair, that's just true to form right now. I thought Jesus was the only one who looked like doing something in the front three. Took him off. Saka goes another 90 minutes. Besides the fact that Saka hasn't really deserved to complete a 90 minutes for a while, and I love Saka, but I'm just being honest with his performances. My word, give the kid a break. Give the kid a break. He has played so much football. And you could have moved Jesus outright if you want to bring on Nketiah. And then, speaking to a point you made last week, Laurie, which was spot on, Smith Rowe barely gets any appearances. Comfortably ahead against Chelsea, you don't see him. Didn't get a couple minutes against Newcastle, did he? No. Didn't see him really in that 7-match winning run.
This is where the chickens come home to roost. If you've not been using these guys, then all of a sudden you throw them on expecting to do big things. But James, I hate to have to do this to you, bro, because you're my brethren and love you like cooked food. However, we got
of course.
People. I could go on.
I know how it is. But thank you for having me on.
I hope you're feeling much better, by the way. I know you are.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you. I'm on the mend, so appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
See you soon.
Respect.
See you in a bit.
Take care.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.